Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you are listening, we welcome you to the Big Biz Show inside the Loft 100 studios here in beautiful Southern California. Before I introduce who's here, we just would like to formally welcome you to the show with a Feliz Cumpleaños. Love it. That is the day. Feliz Cumpleaños. A little disjointed. That is the Day Trader Trio, best in the business. Back here at the bar, it is Costa, it is Mary Godwin, and it is Sully.
Yeah, Mike back at a bar.
Yeah, my second home.
How was did you guys do any New Year's resolutions or New Year's goals?
Thank you. Ever since I started doing the show with you, the resolution word is gone. Goal has come into play.
Because, like I said, if you miss 2 years of a goal, it's a feared thing first, FTF.
Yeah.
I used to do it with my kids when they were in high school, okay? And they had a very difficult high school just because it was academically like #1 in San Diego County.
Sure.
And so it was like one of these things I think they were more prep for college than actually college was. That's how they got. No, seriously.
It is.
Then they were club volleyball players and they were very successful school volleyball players.
Yep.
And on Friday nights, of course, there's always a game. And there's always 2 hours of homework every single night. Ugh. And I would say to them on Friday, look, you have your volleyball game. I know it's over around 7:30 or so. If you get your homework done now, you can stay as late as long as you want Friday.
Yep.
And what is the #1 most dreaded time in America?
Sunday night.
4:20 p.m. or 4:40 p.m. One of those numbers on Sunday afternoon is the most dreaded time in America, psychologically speaking.
Oh my God, I got to get my diorama.
I go, do your feared thing first. You have nothing hanging over your head. Man, to this day.
Yeah.
Still do that?
They still do that.
I actually started one of my goals last night. One of my goals for 2026 is to learn how to play cribbage.
Really?
Oh.
Yep. Yeah.
Another game where
Is that the thing with
another
the
athletic prowess that Mike's going to check off the list. He's got darts, he's got billiards, he's got bowling, and this year, the #4, the Quattro.
Cribbage. Another game you can play while drinking. No.
Let's go to Howie Font in New York City to see if he has finally resolved himself to move out of New York City.
God.
Sunny Southern
weather
California, where we are, which would be great. Hey, buddy, how are you? Good to see you. Did you make any New Year's goals this year other than to not suffer us as much as you normally do?
Yeah, I've got some portfolio goals that.
Yeah, see, of course he does. He's got some portfolio and career goals. We're like Mike in the meantime is learning how to play Uno. It's so inspiring.
This year, what I did was I said I want to do this set of things and get better at these kind of trades or techniques or whatever the list was. And I scheduled an email to be sent to myself, at the end of the year, and just a little accountability check. Maybe I should do it halfway through, but that's what I did. So.
I'm going to ask Miles East, who's our technical director today, and Chris Castillo, to put up on the big screen over here the job openings per unemployed worker that you sent over earlier, because we've got job market, which is weakening. Why do we care about job picture when really the job number we get, just like when we get the consumer price index that strips out gas and food, which are really the only 2 damn things we care about, because gas and food are like a tax. You have to pay it. The only real number is the beige book number, which is what you're talking about here. And that's the job openings per unemployed worker. Talk about this a little bit, Howie, because it's something we don't really look at.
Well, I think it's important because people are going to say, oh, we had a good year in the market last year. We're not going to do as well this year. Well, how do we know that? One of the things we can look at is the real economy. What's one of the most important things in the real economy? The job market.
Sure.
So I like this metric, that chart that you showed, more than just the job openings number fell by 300,000, rose by 100,000. That people don't have context for that. Supply and demand, for the labor market works just like you think it would for anything else. So if you have more job openings, then you can get better, favorable terms, and it's easier to get a job.
Sure.
Great.
That's exactly right.
So we've been in a pretty strong job market post-COVID, coming out of the pandemic, and there were lots of job openings, and we can talk about the quality of those jobs, but there were lots of things people could do. that's becoming less and less true as time goes on. So you have to say, why is that happening?
And Howie, one of the important things to remember here is when we have an expectation for a number, the market bakes that into consideration. So when we fall short, this is why when you see, look at MarketWatch or Bloomberg or whomever.
That's exactly right.
And says, we fell far below expectation. We had 7.61 million vacancies that were expected. In reality, job openings fell 303,000. That's below expectations. That's why typically you'll see some sort of a hit to the market because we bake everything in early. Is that why we care about sort of projecting these things?
Yeah, from a market perspective, that's definitely why you would care as the new number comes out and all that. But I mean, if you're also trying to have an accurate economic model, this is a good thing to be looking at, a good thing to have in your head and say, who gets hurt first? The unskilled labor, so fast food jobs, some types of construction, things like that, and who is insulated from this? High skilled workers. So you can make a couple assumptions based on seeing this ratio of openings per unemployed worker. And then another thing that I think is really important that illustrates that is, small firms, small businesses are half of the country's output, of the United States as output. There's a lot of them, and not one small business is that important, but collectively they're a big force, and they were anemic with job hiring.
If you think, let's go through the numbers real quickly because you've got the job openings declined 885,000. Number of unemployed individuals now exceeds job openings by 685,000. And you've got, even though we added 9,000 jobs in December, which was the first gain in employment in 5 months, small business is still hurting. So is this because
in a country this large for, between a company that's between 1 and 19 people to have, all the companies in the country with 1 to 19 employees, they added 4,000 workers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
If you move that table from 20 to 50, it's about 5,000.
Now, Howie, is it
job growth? So if you work at a small firm or want to transfer to another small firm, that's a hard sell right now.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree.
Hey, Howie, is AI a factor in this and taking jobs away?
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that because I was just looking before the show started at some numbers on the ratio between the number of robots that a company has and the number of employees they have. So I'll have some stuff for you next week on the show. But I think this is still like any other software product. I don't think we've reached like HAL from Space Odyssey or 2001 Space Odyssey. Yeah, I don't know. It's too old for me, the movie. But it's not doing work by itself. So it still needs people. So I don't think it's taken jobs yet. Okay. I think it's made people better. And I think people want these tools inside of their company because they're afraid of not having them. So you have to start getting on that curve. But I don't think it's taking away. It's just saving people time and people are learning how to use it. And really frustrating my use of Microsoft Office tools.
Excuse me, Howie Font, market analyst here on the Big Biz Show. Always informative and entertaining. Speaking of the show, keep it here. Lots more to come your way, so do not go anywhere. We're back after this. Loft 100 Studios, The Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the company's profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
In over 175 countries and all the ships at sea, you can hear this wonderful program on the American Forces Radio Network. As always, shout out to the brave men and women of our United States Armed Forces. Shout out to the Day Trader Trio, always with us, always 100%. Back here at the bar, it is Costa, it is Mary Burt Godwin, and of course, our fearless leader, Sully.
Head of corporate development for a company called Ainos, A-I-N-O-S-E, or otherwise known as AI Knows.
Yes.
Because this is teaching healthcare to robots in terms of actually being able to teach machines how to smell. Jack, good to see you, man. How are you?
All right, guys. Good to be back.
Hey, Jack, since you've been on for a while, and we're looking forward to having you on more, Ainos is teaching machines how to smell, and that's a brand new frontier in AI. Let's review that once again. What was the tip of the spear for you guys as a company? And I realize that you're head of corporate development, but I know there's CEOs and CFOs that were there from the very beginning as well. But what made someone think we need to be able to smell in order to get better health care and so on and so forth?
So, let's go back to the very beginning. I mean, we were originally trying to use this to solve healthcare problems, right? Our first, the very, very first development was for going into the critical care settings, helping doctors being able to diagnose ventilator-associated pneumonia patients faster. Because right now they were using culture tests. You take the culture sample, you go back 2-3 hours, come back. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. In the meantime, you're giving the patients these broad spectrum antibiotics. Sometimes it gets into this negative loops because you couldn't get the results right. So we were trying to develop something that can shorten everything, all the test cycle from a few days into a few minutes. And we know that through a lot of the medical studies that have pointed out that your body's, parts of your body, they emit these tiny traces of what we call VOCs. If you can analyze this, it actually represents your health. Just historically, people were doing this kind of research with the machines the size of a printer or bigger and requires these technicians to run it. So it's not scalable. So we figured out that, so we can use these sensors to capture these signals, and we use AI to train this. And that's how we got everything started. And as we progress along the ways, these robotic themes started to show up. I think the first incident we had was we were SoftBank a few years ago. They got these robots, right? And then this guy's picture was all over the place, right? All over the internet,
right? And
we noticed one thing. Wait a minute, this robot has no nose. Wait a minute, there's something's not right here. So that really got us thinking, right? Yeah, as these robotics and AIs, they got all these senses. They're still missing that very critical layer, which is the ability to smell, right?
Right.
For you to be able to smell the environment, that's where you can really get into the homes and for robots to really help people. And as we progress along, we found a new use case is using this technology into industrial setting, and that's where we are today.
Yeah, and which is interesting about this is that no one would have ever thought about preventative maintenance, in terms of health because of smell. But then again, if you think about it, I mean, it's one of the most reliable sort of senses that we have in terms of determining if there's an issue or not physically.
Yeah. I mean, back all the way, if you look back to the histories, if you go back all the way to the Greek time, ancient Greece, they were trying to diagnose your health by physically smelling you.
Yeah.
So, 2,000 years ago, people were actually smelling it. It's just that this goes away. This is kind of the lost art, and we're trying to, pick it up. Human nose get tired, machine don't get tired.
Yeah.
So, Jack, this is basically the age-old saying, it doesn't pass the smell test. Is this going to, get to the point where you walk into a doctor's office or a medical facility and there's going to be an Ainos robot or some sort of machine there that, hey, pass through that and let us take a whiff of you?
Well, we were developing devices that was kind of handheld, so people can use it in the clinical settings or the home use settings. But as we move along the ways, I think starting from last year, we started to realize that there's a massive opportunities within actually the industrial settings.
Gotcha.
Factories, right? Robots. The robots these days, their ultimate goal is their first use case that people are talking about is getting these robots into factories so they can do the jobs, right? Because, we're not having more babies, so we have a major labor issues all over the world.
Jack, real quickly, only because we're short on time, a lot of our audience invests in publicly traded companies, and I get a lot of emails asking, sort of things that you can't answer as an insider in the company. However, what you can answer is, in terms of milestones, last time you were on with us, you've hit every milestone you guys have talked about, even before we started interviewing you guys. What are kind of milestones that you share with us for 2026 that you think are going to have the most impact for you guys as a business?
Sure. So 2025, we set out a lot of partnerships related to the industrials growing the ecosystems. 2026 is all about scaling this, right? So last year we talked about we got this orders from our first customer in the semiconductor backend business. So this year we're gonna get our machines into their factory and start, trainings. That's number one. This week we announced the new partnerships, right? Expanding our business opportunity within the semiconductor sectors. So we have this new distribution relationship with the Taiwanese companies. They're basically serving all the major front-end companies like Intel, TSMC, Micron. This is what we call the front-end companies. So that really gives us a new opportunity to move into the real biggest value chain of the semiconductor supply chains. So that's where we are. Semiconductors, robotics, that's gonna be our major milestones. Getting our product from pilots into deployment and scaling this up.
And we need you on the air more. This is exciting stuff.
Fantastic. It really is. Jack Lu, head of corporate development, Ainos Incorporated. AIMD is their ticker symbol. All right, keep it right here. There is a lot more to come with the Big Show. Do not go anywhere. You still there? Big Biz Show continues. This is the first time you've ever joined us. We welcome you to this crazy ride inside the Loft 100 studios. Of course, that is the Day Trader Trio. No less than self-taught, best in the business, anywhere. What do we say, Sully? A quarter of Sullivan, your band?
30%.
Okay, that works.
Actually, wait, that's more than that now. All right, it's almost 40. Well, let's say it's 3 divided by.
Math.
Anyhow, that's them. Back here at the bar, it's Costa, and it's Marybird Godwin, and it, of course, is
43% of
43%. The head of said band,
42.8% of the band.
Jim Joyce is a great friend of the show, CEO. He's also an inventor of Sigyn Therapeutics Incorporated. Their ticker symbol is SIGY. We welcome him to the Big Biz Show for the first time in 26.
I love Jim is so busy that he can't drive the 10 miles to get to our studio. Now that is a company I want to get behind.
Be there, guys.
No, that's okay, buddy. I'm just giving you a hard time. Hey, since it's been a while since you've been on, you introduced to our audience in the world cardiodialysis last year when we met you. And it's really a blood purification therapy to address cardiovascular disease. Talk about that again. And obviously cardiovascular disease is the lead cause of death globally. But talk about that and talk about what else you guys are working on, because it's time to catch up with you for the new year and get you back on the air on a regular basis.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me back on the show. The cardiodialysis that we introduced in November of last year, it's really a first in industry blood purification technology that does two things. It addresses circulating lipoproteins that transport cholesterol throughout the bloodstream. And it also addresses a broad spectrum of inflammatory factors at the same time. And these are drivers of cardiovascular disease progression. And we remove these targets on a rapid, real-time basis. I think what people would be surprised to know is that there is actually a precedent for treating cardiovascular disease with a medical device. And it's devices known as lipoprotein apheresis devices. And these devices target the lipoproteins I mentioned earlier, and they have significant impacts in reducing cardiovascular disease progression, specifically major adverse cardiovascular events. And that's the gold standard for quantifying benefit. And they reduce those events by 75 to 95%, whereas the leading class of drugs only reduce MACE on an average by 25%. So we're advancing a next generation technology that can perform multiple functions, but can be broadly distributed throughout the global, universe of dialysis machines that are located in hospitals and clinics around the world today. And in the US alone, there's 7,500 dialysis clinics on which our technology can be deployed.
Hey, Jim, good to see you again. Happy New Year. I wanted to talk about this statistic. I think we've maybe talked about this before, but 67% of dialysis patients die from cardiovascular disease, which I didn't know that, and I don't know if a lot of people know that. What's the relationship? And that's part of your main opportunity here with this, right?
It is. It's our early commercialization opportunity, our early clinical opportunity. These patients, once they're dialysis dependent, and these oh my gosh.
You have a ghost?
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, these patients, once they become dialysis dependent, they are treated 3 times a week for 4 hours of treatment in general to address their end-stage renal disease. And in the absence of that supportive therapy, their lifespan is only, a matter of a week or so. So these are life-saving therapies. But the therapy itself in these dialysis patients drives inflammation, and they're accelerated models for cardiovascular disease. And in fact, on average, once they're dialysis dependent, their lifespan is 3 to 5 years. And as you mentioned, according to the USRDS, 67% of these patients will die from cardiovascular disease. So we can integrate our technology in series with the regular dialysis treatments. Nothing changes for those patients. They're already going to be sitting in the seat anyway, and we can treat them during normal treatments. A high percentage of the 550,000 dialysis patients in the US suffer from cardiovascular disease and will likely qualify for our inclusion criteria for a forthcoming clinical study in dialysis patients. And if we can demonstrate safety, we'll then move on to an efficacy study for approval. But this is a wonderful early clinical opportunity for us within the dialysis industry. And it's not just benefiting the patients. If you can extend the lives of dialysis patients, it's valuable to the dialysis industry. In the United States, just based on the population of dialysis patients here, each month of extended life would boost top-line revenues for the dialysis industry by about $2.8 billion.
Jeez.
Hey, Jim, just real quickly, and I want to tell our audience, if you go on their website, which is SigynTherapeutics.com, and the website we can put there at the bottom of the screen, I want you to look at the recent news, because you put a press release out about 2 days ago, where it was a really good sort of diatribe on explaining not only to the scientific community, but to the public about cardiovascular blood purification devices and the emergence of that. I think it's really important to take a look at it, because this is next generation stuff. And if you can resolve cardiovascular issues, there's other therapies involved here. I know as the CEO of a public company, you don't really like to say stuff like that, but you have to think there's some bifurcation in terms of treatments here coming in the future, because you just don't know what you don't know yet. But I think it's really exciting stuff. I want to point people that press release. Last of all, before we let you out of here, what are we talking about velocity-wise in terms of when we can see this as a therapy that we can all sort of count on in terms of if the stars line up right and when there's candidates out there. 2 questions. Number 1, is there compassionate care coming? And number 2, what's the velocity to market, you think, until we're actually a household name?
Yeah, there are several humanitarian device exemption pathways through FDA that we'll likely be pursuing. But the opportunity in the dialysis patients itself is an accelerated opportunity. I've run these types of studies previously. They can be enrolled very quickly as a device. Our goal is to demonstrate safety. That's a 12 to 15 patient study that we believe can be run efficiently. And then from there, demonstrate efficacy in a pivotal study. We don't know the size of that study, but historically with these types of devices, that's generally, a 100 to 300 patient study, of which usually 50% of the patients are control subjects. I will point out, in terms of velocity or market opportunity, the lipoprotein apheresis devices that I mentioned earlier that have remarkable abilities to reduce major adverse cardiovascular events, they are not broadly available. They are limited to specialized apheresis centers. They're approved in the US, but they're only available at about 60 different locations. Whereas, as I mentioned earlier, for this to be adopted mainstream, both in this country and globally, you have an infrastructure just in the U.S. alone of about 7,500 dialysis clinics that are devices.
Those are clinics, not people. Those are clinics.
Those are clinics.
That's a big number. Jim Joyce, CEO, Sigyn Therapeutics, ticker symbol SIGY. That website, SIGYNtherapeutics.com. All right, keep it right here. There's a lot more coming your way. As the Big Biz Show rolls on. Hey. Big Biz Show continues inside the Loft 100 studios. We are headquartered here in sunny Southern California. As always, thanks for being with us. The Day Trader Trio, they are always with us as well. Back here at the bar, of course, Costa, Marybird Godwin, and Sully.
Good to have you along today. Coming up in a few minutes, Dan O'Toole is the CEO and founder of Rive AI. His whole team is over at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Do you remember when we were just radio 17 years ago? Russ T and I and the whole team used to drive out to Consumer Electronics Show every year and do a radio program out there.
Seriously.
And the thing about CES in Vegas is, even if I think it's a 5-day thing or a 4-day thing, you don't have time to hit every booth. Even if you spent 3 minutes per booth in all the different locations, it's that big.
It's so gigantic.
It's incredible. So we'll talk to Dan in a second. In the meantime, Mary's favorite guest is on the air with us today.
Oh, Mr. Corey Perlman. He is our social media expert. And he is here to talk about, of course, social media keynote speaker, owner of Impact Social Media Incorporated.
Let's not forget CoreyPerlman.com for his keynote stuff.
That's right.
So I was just asking these guys, Corey, last break before you came with us, if anybody's actually using social media here anymore. Before I fall asleep, or if I have a second, like in an airport, that's like I don't post. I wouldn't even know how to post anymore. I can share a story. Because it'll say, share a story.
There you go.
Yes. But there's no music to it. There's
People call me and say, what's that thing with the plus button and the thing? The thing with the circle around it? Like,
and the thing. I'm giving up. I mean, I know that it's important. And I know that it's like we're leaving money on the table as businesses by not taking advantage of social media. Because it used to be, you have a website, what else do I need? So talk to us about some of the trends to watch out for in 2026. Is there anything new coming?
Well, good to see you guys. Happy New Year, as always, and great to be on the show. I'm not seeing any new platforms on the horizon, but what we talked about last year is the potential of TikTok to go away.
Yeah.
And that sense obviously changed. So my prediction is that more businesses are going to plant their flag on TikTok as the demographic of the audience gets a little older and more into our sweet spot of a potential buyer.
I was talking to Mary We've got 90,000 people following us on TikTok Money, on Sully Speaks Money on TikTok. And we are, and we went viral 2 years ago when we were talking about Elon Musk and Tesla. And we don't post, we don't do any best practices stuff. But my question is, can you, and I think I've asked you this before, maybe I haven't. Let's say we want to do a cooking show suddenly. Can you repurpose that audience to Sully Speaks Salmon, Sully Speaks Spam? And keep the same, because it seems as though they're there regardless if I'm posting or not. Now I know that isn't for everybody, but maybe I'm simplifying this.
Well, here's one little trend that's happening that you could jump on is there's something called trial reels on Instagram right now where you can post reels to a non-follower audience. So if I were in your shoes, I would take that clip that went viral and I would post it there on trial reels and get it to a new audience and get a potential second viral sensation.
Interesting.
Well, a lot of it is not even who's following you anymore because it's being posted on your habits on social, and you're getting in the For You page, and everything on my feed, I get some people that I'm not following because Instagram tells me I'm gonna want the information, and a lot of times I do.
Yeah, and I know this is a business show, so I want to give you a New Year's resolution that I'm trying to do, which is to supplement or substitute my doom scrolling on either Instagram or TikTok for LinkedIn. Because if I can take the couple minutes or even sometimes the 30 or 45 minutes that I waste on Instagram on the most ridiculous nonsense that I see and scan potential business opportunities and stay engaged with people who can actually do business with me, imagine what 2026 could
What are you
look like.
talking about? Don't you want to know how the pyramids were built? Don't you want to know that we've got, there's a thing in this space that's going to crash into us next March? I mean, seriously, it's now, by the way, all of you in the studio will now have pyramids, of course, and now have alien stuff. LinkedIn is an interesting animal to me. I remember putting my LinkedIn profile together when I thought I should do something like that, and of course, haven't done anything for 5 or 6 years on it. And I ignore any email I get. Is this a client acquisition tool at the end of the day? Is that what this is, or is it a job seeking tool at the end of the day?
Yes, and yes. I think it's a B2B network. I think that it's a different world than potentially you live in. I think you're more B2C world, which makes more sense for Instagram and TikTok and some of the other platforms. But for those of us that are B2B and play in that space, it's probably the only social tool that actually provides solid ROI.
So my question is this, though. So let's say you're a services business, a business that's providing other services, other businesses. How do you cut through the traffic? Because I think that's I think that's been the bane of the social media existence. Let me bring up the music industry again. It is so much easier to have your music heard these days, but there is so much of it now that still it's probably even harder than it was back in the 70s when you were trying to cut a record deal by sitting on the steps of Columbia Records.
Yeah. I'm not going to blow smoke, Sully. It's noisier than ever. But the two things that are most interesting to me is the adoption of AI, as you all know, has been faster than any of us could have imagined. So 2026, people are frustrated with it. They're annoyed by it, and they're pissed off about it. So I think the way to cut through the noise is going to be more real, to be more human. Episodic content, something I just shot recently where you could tell by the ums and the ahs and the dog barking that it was not AI. That's the type of content people want to see.
Corey, do you think we will ever get to the point, or maybe we're getting there sooner than we know, where someone says, all right, we're going to have an AI-less social media platform?
Potentially. I don't know. I mean, it might be too far down the track, so to speak.
Well, but wait a second, though. On that subject, potentially, is it doing, in your opinion, I mean, you're the guy to ask this, is AI doing more damage than good on some of these platforms?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And in fact, what's going to be interesting is when people start leaving or spending less time on the platform because it's so AI generated, that's when the platforms are going to care and start doing things to remove AI.
Hey, Corey, before we let you out of here, I wanted to say we were talking about what's coming in 2026, but what went away is metaverse is gone, right? And speaking of, people don't want fake world, they want real world. So I was just laughing a little bit that his big plan, Zuckerberg, all went
Hell in a handbook.
Yeah.
Hell in a handbook. Yeah, you're right. I think that the core values of human existence came, to the forefront, that we want human real connection. And so hopefully we revert back to that in 2026 and beyond.
The interesting part is that, all those things that we were addicted to, Vine, MySpace, I can't even remember a number. They're just gone completely.
Right.
And I'm wondering when Facebook's going to join that crowd. That's got to be the one that's on the cliff now.
To me, Facebook is just one giant ad. And
Yeah.
God forbid you click on one of those ads. That is all you're going to see in between stories and people you actually care about.
Yeah. So Mike's getting a, bikini ads as well.
Okay, I looked up bikini wax, and boom, comes across my screen. Corey Perlman, social media keynote speaker. He's owner of Impact Social Media Incorporated, CoreyPerlman.com and ImpactSocialMedia.com. He is our go-to for everything social media. All right, still lots more to come your way here on The Big Biz Show. Do not go anywhere. We are back right after this. It is the Big Biz Show, wherever you're watching, wherever you are listening. As always, thank you for being with us. We're coming to you from Southern California inside the Loft 100 studios. Always with us as well, the Day Trader Trio. Talent with a capital T. I'm not sure about the people here at the bar. Of course, Costa, Maribor Godwin. Okay, you're talented, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And Sully. Oh, yeah.
This guy.
For it, baby. Mr. Dan O'Toole is the CEO and founder of Arrive AI. Their ticker symbol is ARAI. And we welcome him back to the Big Biz Show. Dan, belated Happy New Year. Thank you for coming back.
Hey, thanks for having me after messing up the intro on the last one.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
Hey, I was gonna say, let's straighten it out.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
That's right.
Let's straighten it out. My first album hit number 3 on Billboard. Thank you very much for calling. I want to talk a little bit real quickly for the people who didn't get to see you last time, and hopefully we're going to get to see you on a regular basis here, as I mentioned before. Talk about what you guys do. You've got 37 years as an entrepreneur. You scale businesses. You've had several exits, but then you had a hell of a 2025. And you've got a team that's at CES. We were just talking about you guys a little bit ago. But real quickly, talk about exactly what you guys do for those people that missed you the first time out, Dan.
Yeah. Most basic terms. We're not the mailbox. We're everything but the mailbox. But by the way, we are a mailbox 2, mailbox 2.0. We're holding up this whole new notion of asynchronous delivery. If you believe that autonomous delivery is going to happen between robots, drones, unmanned vehicles, that's Arrive AI. We're uplifting the last 50%. We're unlocking the last 50% of the value to be gained through autonomous delivery, because there's this new notion of asynchronous delivery. If you have a robot come to you right now, 2 things have to happen. You have to be there to meet the robot has to be there to meet you. But what if you have an arrive point in that ecosystem?
Right.
Everything happens autonomously, asynchronously at its own pace, and it unlocks all that value.
It's interesting. You guys brought $40 million in last year when you went public. You hired 40 people. I know you have more people coming. And we'll talk about the Consumer Electronics Show, because you guys have got to be the booth right now at CES that's happening. But first of all, we were just talking about social media with our social media expert, Corey Perlman, and I want to stop down for 1 second, because I know you guys have a really good social media presence. Talk about how important that's going to be for adoptability. Number one, how do people find you on social? Number one. Number two, talk about social media presence for adoptability, because look, you're bringing us into the next era here, and there's got to have to be adoption from consumers, correct? And that's one way and that's probably one of the best ways to get to them, other than, of course, my show.
There you go. Hey, let's straighten that out. I get a 10 cents every time I say that.
I know you do.
All right. Now, hey, social media is everything. We call ourselves a We the People story. More people don't know about us than do. Obviously, NASDAQ ticker ARAI, Arrive AI, that's us. We had 5,000 pre-public investors on our cap table before we went to the public market, which is I'm impressed with that. I'm so proud of that. And we got all these 5,000 cheerleaders, plus everybody new that has joined our journey. And just looking up Arrive AI on all of our socials, we're out there on all the big ones that Insta, Facebook, LinkedIn, others. So that's how we do a lot of messaging. We have our own show called The Dan Show. It's a regular. It's not a regular.
You need to come in the studio here and start taping that here, pal. Yeah. I mean, I think it's time for you. Hey, listen, real quickly, can you talk about autonomy? That's inside of Hancock Health. It's a robot partner. We didn't talk about it last time for more than just a second. Talk about that for just a minute.
Yeah. Hey, robots are the big thing right now. That's what everybody, we
saw this thing. We talked about it earlier today in the 60 Minutes thing. We even had the folks on from Ainos who are teaching robots how to smell for healthcare purposes, which is just insane.
Robots are really, CES, everything's going the robotic way right now. But you know what? It goes back to having a arrive point. A robot, a drone, an autonomous vehicle, they're all commodities. But when you add this element of Arrive AI into that ecosystem, now you have this whole network that you're building. And, Hancock, we're Hancock Health, a mid-level healthcare facility, campus in Central Indiana. What we're doing is we're making deliveries through robots from the cancer ward to the lab, back and forth, and everything's facilitated with an arrive point. So no, we don't need to deploy, high cost employees, nurses, and others, taken away from giving the healthcare to the people that need it. This happens autonomously. We're also opening up streamlining efficiency. In the old days, when you have a high-priced individual taking these samples down, you'd wait till you had a batch to do that to make it more efficient, so you're not making all these trips. But with what we're doing autonomously, samples can go out in real time. It streamlines the bottleneck that you're creating at the lab. It gets patients turned over quicker. We're actually adding, we think we're adding 50 bed nights to this one use case just by streamlining the efficiency of what we're doing right here.
Dan O'Toole, CEO, founder, Arrive AI, ticker symbol ARAI. I
want to move over to CES in just a second, but I want to go through just a couple of things that have happened with your company. Once again, its ticker symbol is ARAI, and the name of the company is Arrive AI. You guys went public in May through NASDAQ. You raised $40 million. You did a $10 million share repurchase in September, which basically goes through March, meaning that you've just basically spelled out that you have so much confidence in your company, you're going to buy your own stock, which is one of the coolest things. You got this 2-year partnership with Hancock Health that we talked about, as well as smart city environment partners, Peachtree Corners, and then of course leadership, and then you got into a 30,000 square foot facility. This is your post NASDAQ hiring expansion is pretty impressive, and the reason I'm bringing all this up right now is because as you go to Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Let's talk about that just for a second. You are basically talking about operational readiness for autonomous delivery systems that we've never even talked about at that level before. And you're also talking about AI as it applies to safety and as it applies to reliability. Those are two things that are probably the biggest concern for anybody when you hear about AI is safety and reliability. Talk about what you guys are doing at CES and why you sent the team there, other than just to get a break for yourself.
I wish I were in Vegas. I'm bummed out I didn't go. That's my vibe, man. But the coolest thing about being in Vegas at CES is we've got 5 of our high level folks out there, but every single meeting we're having, over 30 meetings, not one of them is taking place on the booth floor or the trade floor, which if you know about the CES, all the deals happen not at the booth, but the suites and all that. And we're talking to the largest companies in the world, T-Mobile, NVIDIA, Samsung, Qualcomm, others, and the level of meetings and the attentiveness that we're getting, we're getting a lot of traction. People are seeing what we're doing, and we're really doing something that's going to change the world, and they want to be a part of that. And so, I'm really excited about that.
Dan, we need you on this show a lot more. Maybe get to the point where we take you to Vegas to discuss
being on the air more?
Exactly. Dan O'Toole, CEO and founder of Arrive AI, ticker symbol ARAI. All right, look at that. Let's straighten it out. Funny how Dan O'Toole said that a couple times. And look, right here.